What's up, everybody? It's Moja, and we're back for another episode of Black at Indie, and we're going to be talking to Jamal. Say your last name for me.
Well, my last name is Rashid, but my stage name is Joseph.
Joseph,
So
exactly.
Jamal Joseph.
I was going to say Joseph, but I know a lot of people say, I want to make sure there's Joseph, but
right.
Yeah, talking to Jamal. What do you want to be called? How about that? Whenever people see you and speak to you, what you want?
Jamal Joseph.
There we go. But that's what we're going to call him, Jamal Joseph. And some people may know, some people may not, but we're going to just sort of open the book and just sort of go for it for a little bit. But how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm cool. So let's just backtrack before we get to the current stuff really quick. So where you from? Where'd you grow up? Where you went to school? All that good stuff.
I am from Oakland, California, originally, and then I moved to Dallas, Texas, where I went to high school, and then I went to college in South Carolina, Denmark, South Carolina, a very small HBCU called Voorhees College, and graduated 2010. Moved to Atlanta, then I moved to New York, and then I moved to LA.
And all this movement, and we'll get into the whole movement thing. So there's actually a connection between you and another guest that I had, Mr. Anthony Highland. So how do you and Anthony know each other?
That's my Neo.
Got you. And you pledged when?
Well, don't do that. 2007.
Oh, okay, yeah. Not too many years ahead of me.
Okay. Yeah. 2007 I pledged, but he wasn't. He was not on campus when I was in school.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. And so, whenever you graduated, what are some things that you've gotten into? Before we get to the whole Beyonce thing, what led you? What happened between graduation and when you started doing stuff on stage, or have you always been doing stuff on stage?
I've kind of always been doing stuff on stage. I started when I was 12, did my first job for Kirk Franklin, danced background at his show, opened this concert. I danced background for Tone when I was like 13. Well, we know him as B Slade now.
Exactly.
I feel like when I was 13 or 14, I opened for the president at the time.
Which president?
President Bush. I opened singing for him.
Bush. Okay.
Yeah. We sang and opened for him. So then, like, by the time I got to middle school, I had started the step team and I started the dance team at my school. And then same thing in high school, and I was in competitions, and we had performed at like the Mavericks game, and we performed at like national championship for the soccer, games and stuff like that. We were doing the halftime shows and all of that. So, then I went to college, and that's when it kind of just slowed down, just basically due to where I was. And then, did all that, you choreograph step shows and pageants and all that stuff in school, dance team, model troops and all that. And then when I was done, I was going to actually go to grad school for dance, and I was going to get a BFA, in Charleston. And it was very weird. I was on my way to, to work that day. And I was like, I'm going to get a job for a month, and then I'm going to go to Charleston. And so I had this job, and I was on my way to work, and I was calling, and then a lady told me, like, you must have a lot of money to pay to go here. And I was like, no, they gave me a scholarship. They gave me all this stuff. They had sent me all the paperwork.
Yeah.
And she was just like, oh, no. She was like, they kind of misunderstood. And that's what you're going to be getting for the whole year, not per semester. So you have to come out of your pocket like $15,000 to $20,000 extra. And so that kind of scratched my whole plan. And it was very interesting. But on the way to work, I was like kind of crying. And I was like, okay, God, just open up a door. And I had a frat brother who called me, and he was like, hey, my father-in-law, he is a ballet dancer. He said, if you can get to Atlanta, then he'll help train you. And I was at work, and then this lady saw me, and she was just like, oh my God, my daughter just went to school. She's going to Clark Atlanta, and I bought her a house, and like, she needs a roommate. and it's only $500. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay. So then that was kind of it. And so then I moved to Atlanta, and I started training with the dance company there, a ballet company, balletnik. And, I was kind of in and out of dance, I guess more so just trying to figure it out, that after college life.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, okay, well, I think I'm outgrowing Atlanta for what I want to do. And I'm not really growing like I know I can. So then I just said I was going to move to New York, saved up for like 3 months. And then I moved to New York, and I began to train there. And then this is like the Cliff Notes version of
Yeah.
the less tragic stuff I went through to get there. But
I mean, there's always a story. Every
yeah.
artist has a story.
Yeah, it's a story. And then after that, I got to New York, and I started to kind of train there for a little bit. And my job gave me off a month, just like a furlough in between, because I was working with kids. And so that month, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to LA for a month, just try it out, see how it works. And like my first couple of days here, I booked like 3 jobs, and I was like, well, this is more than I got in New York in the past 2.5 years. And then I kind of got here.
Okay. And so between all of that you've done, what has been, before we get to the current stuff, what's been the most memorable thing that you can say between that period of your life? What is something that you really appreciate or learned from, I guess we can say?
I guess I learned how to be a better study of my life and my craft. I've learned that life gives us tests and trials every year. And there are some
proven that already.
Yes. And there are some that we pass, and then there are some that we fail. And the ones that we fail are normally going to repeat about the same time the next year. So knowing that you need to do what you need to do to pass that test or figure it out. And also, I learned that it doesn't really matter where you live. If your mind and your heart for what you do hasn't changed, it's going to be the same, because that's the energy that's within you that you're putting out into that environment. So, people, LA is do this, New York is do this, and you can talk about those things. And I'm like, yeah, that very may well be, but if you don't change within, the city won't align with you either. So, there have been various lessons, but that's some of the main ones that stuck out to me, and how to find your way more so, like how to really make something work for you, if something isn't working, how to adjust really quickly.
Exactly.
And just figure it out.
Exactly. And, really, and you grew up, I know we've spoken about like your family, but you grew up in a pretty musical family. So who is your dad? Like, who are your people, as we would say?
Well, my dad is a pastor now, but he used to be a musician. He used to write for Motown, play with Sunshine Band, and he was Minnie Riperton's music director. And I mean, he's done some things, like it's been pretty interesting, Sheila E. And it's so weird. Like, I think as I get older, I even hear stories to this day. My dad will be talking, and he'll say, hey, I remember when Marvin Gaye was coming. So I was like, what? Like
who just says that?
Right. Like, who just says that? Prince invited me to his birthday party. And I was like, okay, cool. You're cool. And then my uncle is Lenny Williams.
There we go.
Yeah, we all know the girl, So, he was the lead singer of Tower Power for a little while. And then my cousin is Larry Graham.
Okay.
And then my other cousin is a really big writer and producer. He was like Clive Davis' assistant for a long time. He wrote like Aretha Franklin's Who's Zooming Who and all of that.
Really?
Yeah, he wrote that, produced it. He wrote a few things for Natalie Cole, Tevin Campbell. I mean, there's so many people, the Whispers and Spinners, and it's kind of there. It's a lot of them who They do some crazy things in the industry.
Man, that's wild. And, you know, honestly, so recently I've been doing on this whole ancestry DNA kick, and I came in touch with one of my cousins, and we were talking one day. He was like, I want to let you know. He said, you're actually on the English side of my family. One of the original Temptations is my cousin. I said, what? Melvin Franklin is the one. I was like, man. And his son stays in California. He's between California and Detroit. But I'm like, man, that's crazy. And I have a cousin out in the Oceanside who raps too, who's well known. His name is John Gibbs. But yeah, man. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I've only met a few of the Temptations. I met like Otis and stuff, but
really? Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, that's crazy. And now with all of that you've experienced, so tell us about this whole Beyonce moment. How did that come about?
Beyonce, I think that just built. I think I just started to meet people. I did World of Dance, and then I did the pre-Grammys for like the CBS Lexus thing. We were dancing with Don Richard. I did D Woods. I did Pharrell, NERD, and I was just meeting people on the way, dancing for those people, and all the jobs previously to Beychella. So I remember that, I was driving Lyft at the time, and I was over dance. It wasn't working for me. I was about to quit. I was going to just move back home. I had already packed up my car. I was like 3 months behind on my car note. I had lost my apartment. I had to sell my dog. Like everything that had happened. And so I was going to help a friend, and someone was like, hey, like I got invited to this audition and I can't go. So I want you to go in my place because I think you would be really good for it. And like, I don't know who it's for. I think it's for Beyonce, but I don't know. It was like, but yeah, I'm going to call and see if you can go. Okay. Yeah. And so that's literally what he said. And so he's like, you can go in my place. And, he's like, I'm going to email them. So I went, I auditioned, and they were like, wow, they told me to stay around and all of these things. But they said they were starting by a certain day. And that day had passed by like a week. So I was like, well, I didn't get it. And so I was packing up my car and I was going to go home. And then I ended up getting invited to my cousin's birthday party. And then some people from her team were at his birthday party. And they were like, hey, bro, we've been looking for you, but you don't have an agent. And I was like, I kind of book jobs on my own. And they were like, well, we start rehearsal next week for Beyonce. Or would you be interested to like come in and like help make up some things? They really liked your audition and stuff like that. And so, that's how it kind of happened. And then next week I was in rehearsal.
Dang, man. That is crazy. And so between the time, I know I saw you, it took a while for you to actually put it on Facebook, but how long was the time span between the time you found out and the time you all actually went on stage to do Homecoming?
Oh, like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I figure it's always that lag time because a lot of people don't understand. Like, it's not just like live. This stuff takes a long time. Yeah. So it did, for all the sections I choreographed, I think it only took me like, I don't know. It probably took me if I put all the time together, because it wasn't like I said I'm doing a song every day. It probably took me about a week to do all the songs. I probably did a song a day. And that way, so people know which songs you did. Which songs did you do?
So I did a piece of Crazy in Love, Diva, Irreplaceable, Suck on My Balls, the All Boy Step section, 7-Eleven, Say My Name. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
All right. Bet. I'll make sure that they all know that as well, too. And so with all of these things that you've experienced and the things that you're still experiencing, because I mean, you got a lot of great stuff I know that we've even talked about off the air about what you have coming up. Tell us about this Black Boys Dance 2 book. Like, why did you write that?
Well, most of the auditions that I go on, there are girls, and the girls' auditions would be like 3 or 4 hours, and they're like out of, there's a line and all of that stuff. And then there is, the boys, they'll have one audition. It's like 50 of us, but I wrote it to, it was COVID. I was sitting there and I was like, I was choreographing for America's Got Talent, and the team that I was on, there was a boy who, I think one day he kind of said it under his breath, and he said, I can dance better than like most of these girls. So, but he didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
And then I started to realize that a lot of the parents were like, no. And I started to hear all these stories of like parents who were like, sit down, and they were punishing their kids for dancing, or they was like, that's gay. And it was like beating their children or something.
Yeah.
I just heard really crazy stories.
Yeah.
And I began to think about just stuff that had been said to me, when I was younger, and I would be, trying to date a girl or something. She'd be like, I don't know, you're a dancer. That's kind of gay. Like, I need to date a football or basketball. And those are all the things I heard. And I would hear girls be like, are you sure you're straight? Because that's like, you dance too good. Like, that's just too good. I was like, okay, so this is ignorant. Yeah. Until it became to you dancing for somebody famous. It's like, oh my God, this is my friend. We went to school together.
Yeah,
like, went to school together. I knew you was going to be like, yeah. So,
it's sad that you can't do what you want to do without having that for someone to not have to do that to you. Like, why can we not just be good in what we do without having to be gay? Or I don't know. But like you said, whenever you have a big name attached to it, then it's funny how the idea of it changed. Like, nah, he ain't gay. That's my
homie. That's my homie. Like, we went to school together. Like, and it turns a little different. So that is one thing. And then I just said, I wanted to write a book for young Black boys. Like, I see a lot of Black children's books, but they're normally, and even the dance books I've seen, it's like boys dance and stuff, but it's inclusive, and people don't really realize how toxic it is in our culture for us to dance or to move, and how people treat dancers in our community. And that I wanted the young boys to see it, but I wanted young girls to see that if they saw it at a young age and they saw boys dancing because they read about it, it wouldn't be a shock when puberty starts to hit, So, I just wanted to really start that conversation. And it's been so crazy because even there are young boys who I've heard have taken the book to school and be like, see, I'm not the only one. Or like, hey, they're actually proud that they want to. So,
that's excellent.
I see a lot of Black books that are like affirmation books, or, talk about Black pride and Black power and all these things, be proud of who you are, but it's never really about be proud of what you do. So
that's true. That is very true, man. And so I'm glad that you have this, because a lot of people, I don't know, I didn't grow up in a community where there were a lot of dancers, unfortunately, but now that I've seen what you do, I guess I'll say this, once I got to college, I saw more. And it's sad that, unfortunately, our communities, especially, whenever we're not exposed to different things, we're only used to just this ounce of what Black men can do. Everything else is like a non-negotiable. Like, nah, you're not doing that. You want to go maybe to the army. You want to play sports. But quite frankly, Black men can dance too. Black women can dance. It's part of what we do. I mean, dance, let's be honest, dancing goes back to Africa, period. That's part of the African diaspora.
So why they dance? They dance. Where the men actually dance more than the women, and
and I have footage of
it. There's that, and also too, dancing was a big part of being Black. When we were at the 50s and the 60s, men could swing and they could dance and they could tap, and it was like, yo, if you could dance, you was the cool kid.
Exactly.
I don't know when it changed, but
now everybody goes to the club and just stands on the wall. Now that's a cool thing to do. Like, I can do that just in my house. I can just be on the wall. Right. And then everybody just, hey, and then it calms down. You go back to texting your phone. So it's, I don't know, but I'm glad that you were ambitious enough to do this, man. I'm glad that you're taking chances on your dreams and making it happen, because people need to hear that. Young Black boys and girls need to see that. But shoot, grown folks need to see that. So no, I really appreciate it. Now, where can we go to find your book?
So you can find my book either on my website, jamaljosef.com, or you can find it, it's available on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, It's available on Apple Books if you want to get a digital copy, ebook. And yes, those are the main places that people would go to.
Bet. Bet. Listen, brother, I really appreciate you so much. Everybody, please check out his stuff, and I'll make sure to include all the information in the description. So you all have a good day, Jamal. Thank you so much, man.
No problem. Thank you.